Most people don't have a money problem. They have a thinking problem. Look around for a second. You've probably seen someone earning a decent salary, maybe even more than you. Yet, by the end of the month, they're still broke. Bills piling up, stress increasing, always saying, "I just need to make more money." But then you also see someone else, earning less, living calmer, building something slowly, and somehow moving forward. So what's really going on here? Because if money was only about income, then the highest earners would always be the wealthiest people. But they're not. Some of the highest paid people are also the most financially stressed. And some of the quietest, most ordinary people are quietly building real wealth behind the scenes. That's where things start to get uncomfortable. Because it means the problem isn't your salary. It's not your job. It's not even the economy. It's how you think about money when no one is watching. What if everything you were taught about money, from saving to spending to success, was incomplete? What if the real difference between rich and broke isn't visible in bank accounts, but hidden in daily decisions, habits, and mindset? In this video, you're going to see money differently. Not louder, not more complicated, just clearer. And once you understand this, you won't look at your money the same way again. The hidden truth about money. Here's the part most people never stop to question. Money is not really about numbers. It's about behavior. Two people can earn the exact same income and live completely different financial lives. One is constantly stressed, always catching up, always wondering where the money went. The other is calm, intentional, and slowly building something that lasts. The difference isn't the amount they earn, it's how they behave with what they earn. That's the hidden truth. We like to believe that once we make more money, everything will fix itself. But if your habits don't change, more money only amplifies the same patterns. If you spend without thinking, you'll just spend more. If you avoid looking at your finances, you'll avoid bigger numbers. Income doesn't solve behavior, it exposes it. And this is why even smart people stay broke. Intelligence doesn't protect you from emotional decisions. You can understand investments, read financial books, even give advice to others, and still make poor choices when emotions take over. A flash sale, social pressure, the desire to feel successful in the moment. These things don't ask how smart you are. They just ask how disciplined you are. Because money decisions are rarely logical. They're emotional first, then justified with logic later. That expensive purchase? I deserve it. That impulsive spending? It was a good deal. That lack of saving? I'll start next month. And slowly, without realizing it, your financial life becomes a reflection of those small, repeated decisions. That's why money is a mirror. It reflects your patience, your discipline, your fears, your habits, not your intentions, your actions. The moment you stop blaming income and start observing your behavior, that's when everything begins to change. The broke psychology. Let's talk about the patterns most people don't like to admit. The mindset that quietly keeps them stuck. It often starts with one simple habit: choosing now over later. Instant gratification feels good. You see something, you want it, and within seconds, you can have it. No waiting, no thinking, no resistance, just a quick reward. And the more you do it, the more normal it becomes. You stop asking, "Do I need this?" and start asking, "Why not?" But over time, those small decisions begin to stack up, not in your favor, but against you. Then there's the pressure to look like you're doing well. People don't just spend money to buy things. They spend to feel seen, to feel respected, to feel like they've made it. The clothes, the phone, the lifestyle, it's not always about value. It's about validation. And the dangerous part is, the validation is temporary, but the financial impact is not. You might impress people for a moment, but behind the scenes, you're stretching yourself thinner than you realize. And then comes FOMO, the fear of missing out. You see others traveling, upgrading, living fast, and it creates this quiet urgency inside you. I should be doing that too. So you follow along, even if it doesn't make sense for your situation. You don't want to feel left behind, but in trying to keep up, you end up losing control. At the same time, long-term thinking gets pushed aside. Saving feels slow. Investing feels complicated. Planning feels like something you'll figure out later. So instead, you focus on what's right in front of you, this bill, this desire, this moment. And before you know it, months pass, years pass, and nothing really changes. Because you're not directing your money, you're reacting to it. Every decision is triggered by emotion, environment, or pressure. There's no clear plan, no pause, no intention, just movement without direction. And that's the trap. Not lack of effort, not lack of intelligence, but a pattern of thinking that feels normal, yet quietly keeps you in the same place. The rich psychology. Now here's where things begin to shift, because the people who build real wealth don't think the way most people do. They don't chase quick rewards, they delay them. Not because they don't enjoy life, but because they understand timing. They're willing to wait today so they can have more control tomorrow. While others are asking, what can I enjoy right now? They're asking, what will this decision look like in 5, 10, even 20 years? And that single shift changes everything. They think in decades, not days. A wealthy mindset isn't rushed. It's patient. It understands that real growth is slow, quiet, and often invisible in the beginning. Instead of jumping from one opportunity to another, they stay consistent. They repeat simple actions long enough for them to compound. And while it may not look exciting from the outside, it works. They also have a different relationship with emotions. They feel the same urges as everyone else: the temptation to spend, the pressure to upgrade, the fear of missing out. But they don't act on every feeling. They pause, they question, they give themselves space between impulse and action. And in that space, better decisions are made. Because to them, money is not identity. It's a tool. It's not something to show off. It's something to use, to create options, to reduce stress, to build freedom. They don't need money to prove who they are, so they don't waste it trying to impress people who aren't building their future. And that's why their lifestyle often looks quieter, less noise, less pressure, less urgency to be seen. While others are trying to look rich, they're focused on becoming stable. While others are spending to feel successful, they're building systems that make success inevitable. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it's consistent, controlled, and intentional. And the powerful part is this: it's not reserved for a few people. It's a way of thinking, which means it's something you can choose to practice, starting right where you are. The invisible habits that change everything. Here's where things get even more interesting, because the biggest changes don't come from dramatic moves. They come from small habits that most people overlook. Nothing flashy, nothing loud. Just quiet behaviors that slowly shift your entire financial life. It starts with awareness. People who build wealth don't ignore their money, but they also don't obsess over it. They simply stay aware. They know where their money goes, not perfectly, not rigidly, but consistently. A quick check, a simple habit, a moment of honesty. That alone changes how you spend, because it's hard to waste money when you're actually paying attention. Then there's how they make decisions. They don't rush. If something feels urgent, limited offer, last term on chance, only today, they slow down even more, because they understand that most bad financial decisions are made in a hurry. So instead of reacting, they pause. They give themselves time. And very often, what felt like a must-have yesterday doesn't feel important today. They also design their environment. This is something people underestimate. You don't need endless discipline if you remove constant temptation. Unfollow what triggers unnecessary spending. Avoid places that push you to buy without thinking. Stay around people who respect growth, not just appearance, because your environment quietly shapes your behavior every single day. And then there's consistency, not intensity. You don't need one perfect month. You need many average ones done well, saving a little, avoiding unnecessary spending, making slightly better choices. Again and again, it may not feel powerful in the moment, but over time, it builds something solid. Because small habits compound. A small amount saved consistently becomes a cushion. A few good decisions repeated become discipline. A simple awareness practiced daily becomes control. And one day, you look back and realize your financial life didn't change overnight. It changed because of what you did quietly, repeatedly, when no one was watching. Why most people never change? This is the part that's hard to accept. Most people don't stay stuck because they're lazy. They stay stuck because they're conditioned. Change sounds simple on the surface. Spend less, save more, think long term. But in reality, it challenges something deeper, your comfort zone and your identity. You get used to a certain way of living, a certain level of spending, a certain image of yourself, and even when you know it's not working, it still feels familiar. It feels safe. So you stay there, not because it's good, but because it's known. And then there's the fear no one talks about, the fear of looking like you're going backwards. What happens when you stop upgrading everything? When you say no to things others are saying yes to? When you choose discipline over appearance? To some people, it might look like you're struggling, like you're not doing well. And that pressure alone is enough to pull you back into old habits. Because we don't just manage money, we manage perception. Social environments make it even harder. If everyone around you spends a certain way, lives a certain way, thinks a certain way, it becomes normal. You don't question it, you follow it. And slowly, without realizing, your decisions are shaped more by your environment than your intention. That's why awareness matters more than effort. Most people are trying hard, but in the wrong direction. They're working, earning, pushing, but not pausing to ask, why do I do what I do with money? Without that awareness, effort alone won't change anything. Because behavior that is repeated long enough becomes automatic. And automatic behavior feels like personality, when it's actually just conditioning. The moment you see that clearly, something shifts. How to rewire your money mindset. So if the problem isn't income and it's not effort, how do you actually change? You don't start with money, you start with awareness. Before you try to fix anything, you need to see clearly. Pay attention to your patterns. What triggers you to spend? When do you feel pressure? What do you tell yourself in those moments? Not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Because you can't change what you don't notice. Then you change what surrounds you. Your environment is more powerful than your willpower. If you're constantly exposed to things that push you to spend, you'll keep reacting the same way. So adjust your inputs, the content you watch, the people you listen to, the places you go. Fill your space with ideas that support growth, not pressure. Over time, this alone starts to shift how you think. Next, slow down your decisions. You don't need to be perfect. You just need a system. Simple rules. For example, I don't buy anything immediately, or I wait 24 hours before any non-essential purchase. That small delay breaks the cycle of impulse. It gives your logic time to catch up with your emotions. And more often than not, you'll choose differently. Then focus on learning before earning. Most people want more money without understanding money. But knowledge changes behavior. Learn how money works. Learn how to manage it, grow it, protect it. Not all at once, just consistently. Because when you understand something, you stop fearing it. And when you stop fearing it, you start using it better. And finally, shift your identity. This is the most powerful part. Stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to fix money. Start seeing yourself as someone who manages money well, even before everything is perfect. Because your actions follow your identity. When you believe, I am someone who thinks before spending, someone who plans, someone who is in control, your behavior begins to align with that. It won't be instant, it won't be perfect, but it will be real, and it will be yours. And that's how change actually begins. Now you see what most people don't. It was never just about how much money you make. It was never about luck or timing or even opportunity. Those things matter, but they are not the foundation. The real difference has always been quieter than that. Hidden in daily decisions, in habits no one notices, in the way you think when no one is watching. And that's where everything begins to change. Because you're no longer just reacting. You're starting to think. You're no longer spending without awareness. You're questioning, pausing, choosing. The shift is subtle, but powerful. From impulse to intention. From short-term comfort to long-term control. From following patterns to creating your own. This is where most people stop and where a few people begin. Not with a big move, not with a sudden breakthrough, but with a different mindset, a different lens, a different way of seeing money, and more importantly, seeing yourself. You're not just someone trying to fix your finances anymore. You're someone who understands the game. And once that clarity settles in, your actions start to follow. Quietly, consistently, without pressure. Because the truth is simple. The difference was never money. It was how you think about it. If this changed how you see money, hit that subscribe button. Because here, we don't chase shortcuts. We understand the game. We focus on thinking differently, acting intentionally, and building real wealth step by step. And if you're ready to go deeper, watch the next video to learn how to start building real wealth from exactly where you are. No matter your income, no matter your starting point, this is where things begin to change.